Hi and welcome to another session of I need to clear out the fridge before things start rotting. Several oddments of veg that need to be used really. So I'm going to make a kind of lasagna, and then I've also got some tortilla wraps and I'm going to use those instead of pasta. I've got Puy Lentils and Quinoa cooking, which are going to give the protein and some bite and chew. For the bechamel kind of sauce, like the white creamy sauce, I'm going to try and make a savoury custard powder. Might not work at all, we'll find out. I've got 60 grams of cashews and 60 grams of oats. I'm going to blend them together and see what happens. Give these a blitz. And scrape. Ooh. Well, it's working because there's loads of powder on the inside, which is a good sign. So this is very similar to how I made the custard powder for the jammy custards. So check that out as well if you want a sweeter custard. So just move it around in there, especially around the blades. Give it another blast. Scraping it down one more time, and then I'll give it another 10 seconds and then sieve it. Just run this through the sieve. I'll put this to the side for when I need it. I'm going to check on the lentils and quinoa. I did 100 grams each dried and then just covered them in a load of water and a bit of stock, a couple of stock cubes. Start prepping the veg. So I've got 3 small, very small little red onions. Use it any type you like. This isn't a hard and fast, you must have these ingredients, more just to give you ideas. Do these in a sort of rough dice, similar with the carrots. And then the celery, I'm just going to do a whole lot. I always save my pepper seeds, store them in a bag in the freezer, and then when I've got enough, boil them in salt water and toast them for 5-10 minutes. You've got a great little crunchy salad topping. With chilies, feel free to take the seeds out if you want to and move them in, because I like it. Just go back over with your knife if you want it a bit finer. Just keep stirring the veg, moving it around. Just want a little bit of colour on there. Once you get to this point where you can see lots of little brown edges, I'm going to add in, now the bag tells me it's 300 grams of grated white mushrooms. That does look like a small amount, but anyway, some mushrooms, yeah, get like a packet of mushrooms, coarse grate them, and then this has been in the freezer, which is why it's so wet, because as they thaw, all the liquid gets released. And stir it through the rest. Really, we need to cook it down until there's none of that liquid remaining. I'm just moving the solid bits up the side and then letting the liquid bubble away in the middle and evaporate. Feel free to pour away the mushroom liquid that you are just throwing away flavour. Bear that in mind. I'd rather just spend the extra few minutes letting it humidify the kitchen. Grate 100 grams of cheese in the meantime. I'm using a mixture of like applewood smoked vegan cheese and also a vegan parmesan. You can see now all of that excess moisture has evaporated. Squeezing in a few cloves of garlic. Still pandemic, so you know, go nuts with the garlic. I'll have the pepper and chilli as well. Going to add fresh thyme. You can use any sort you like. Dried is also fine. I'm going to pick out any of the really tough stems, but then I'll just chop all of it in. Just give that a chop. Throw this into the pan. Liberal dose of salt and pepper. And that's going to be to taste really. For a little bit of sharpness, I'm adding a drop of balsamic vinegar. And it's about 1/4 teaspoon. Again, that's to taste, but it helps lift the flavour up a little bit. A couple of tablespoons of tomato puree. Going with the protein, so that's the lentils and the quinoa. And work that through. Be kind of gentle. You don't want to smash up too many of the lentils. Tin of tomatoes. I always like to pour a bit of water in and swill out the inside. I'm going to get all that stuff inside out. Mix that through. Henderson's Relish. Again, that's just to give it a nice depth of flavour. Grated 100% cacao, as always when I'm doing anything beefy flavoured. And some instant coffee. So there's maybe a teaspoon of granules. Check the flavouring at this point. Need something, I can't think what it is. A bit more tomato. I'm adding about half a tablespoon of dark brown sugar. And that's just to help balance out, especially the chilli. It just gives a nice roundness. In this pan, I've got 250 ml of soy milk and 250 of water. This is for the bechamel sauce. Feel free to use all milk, I just didn't have enough. I'm going to add a few tablespoons of gravy granules. If you can't get these, just use beef flavoured stock or beef flavoured soup mix, that kind of thing. And perhaps a bit of corn flour if you want to thicken it up. So I'll do 4 of those, and that really helps boost the depth of flavour in the filling. And it also serves as a bit of a thickener as well. Preheating the oven to 180. So you can see this is a really lovely, thick, lush, yummy texture. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of cream cheese to that milk and water. I'm going to add a couple of spoonfuls of the savoury custard until it gets thickened. We'll do it a couple at a time. You can see that it does thicken quite quickly, and that's because of the cashews. They swell with moisture, and also the oats. I was going to do just oats, but then I thought I'd put the cashews in for an extra bit of creaminess. I'll do another 2. You do really want to whisk this rather than just with a spoon, because that's going to help with the lumps. And I'll do 2 more. I'm going to get an idea for the taste at this point, see if I want anything else in there, although I do want a fairly neutral kind of flavour, apart from the cheese. That'd be really good with maple syrup on top as a pudding, you know, like even just breakfast. Once it's at quite a thick consistency, add in that 100 grams of grated cheese. Just let that melt down. So the tortillas, I'm going to kind of square them off a little bit. 3 here, I've also got some back up. And I'll do that into 3. And the off-cuts can be chucked in the air fryer for a few minutes, made into little dumpling snacks. Assembly time. Just going to check the flavour of this bechamel. I'm going to put some nutritional yeast, nooch, so about, I don't know, a few tablespoons. I love this stuff. So that much. Ooh. Yes, dollop a few spoonfuls into the bottom. An fairly even layer. You want half of the cheesy bechamel mixture at this point. Hands up if you've got to put the tortilla in. It's because I'm rushing. Alright, so tortilla in. Another layer of tortillas. And then just put the remaining sort of meaty mixture on the top. For some added crunch on top, I'm going to use tortilla chips. And on top of that, I'm going to put some more cheese. That's like a grated vegan mozzarella. That's just to give an extra little, you know, little wink. And then put this in the oven. I've just cranked it up to 200, just go on it faster. I'm getting really hungry. So in about half an hour, something like that. The lasagne's been in for about 40 minutes or so. I was waiting for the cheese to melt and kind of bubble, and I think the starches in there have just baked. It's almost like a meringue. Same deal for this one as usual with the batch cooking. Better the next day so it can set up a bit. So I have a pile, not so much of a lasagna at the moment, but I'm going to do a vegan Garfield and get stuck in. The crunch is really good on there, just because it has a slight difference in texture. But the flavours are great, really rich, comforting, warming. Then you get a little bit of a hello from the chilies. Perfect for a really cold winter's night, which it is here. Coldest on record, I think. And it's harder to see the bechamel at the moment because everything kind of mushed. But I can see, looking into the side of it, tomorrow that's going to be spot on. That looks like such a mess. It tastes much better than it looks, I promise you. Try a bit of the tortilla. Tortilla has gone very, very soft. But it's kind of nice. It's like a bit, I suppose, like an enchilada. For more explorations into oats and other things, hit subscribe, tap that bell icon, and get them delivered straight into your inbox.